Alright everybody, what I thought I'd do today is a bit of a dueling series. I am wanting to pick up how to duel on the Greatsword and Sword and Shield. I haven't really dueled on them very much. And what I really wanted to get across here was like how, if you duel with someone for a long session, so we're going to be doing 50 duels, and if you duel with someone over a long session, I just wanted to show like how you get better over that session and the ebbs and flows. So Leoce beats me pretty much all the time on the bow at the moment. If I'm playing Greatsword, Sword and Shield, I might win occasionally. But I know that if I do 50 sessions, by the end of it, things should reach a bit of an equilibrium where I am starting to beat him a lot too. And the reason that is because when you're the one winning all the time, you're on less of a steep learning curve than the person who's losing all the time. If you're fighting someone in a duel and you're losing every duel, you're learning at a much quicker rate than they are. What have they got to learn from you if they can beat you? So that's why I should see myself reaching an equilibrium by the 50th duel, I don't know. And so that was the goal. I wanted to show that journey and just show people like how dueling can, a long session of dueling can really improve your game plan in a pretty short space of time and why it's worth it. So I'm recording down every win and loss we have so I can kind of give you a ratio of like, you know, where I'm at, sort of per 10 duels. I'm not going to be showing you all the duels, I'm just going to be showing you like key moments and some key duels, and yeah, so don't worry, we're not playing every 50 duels. So the first 3 duels, this is my big problem. I keep getting caught by his ripostes, and it's just every time I get close to him, he catches me in it and then just gets free damage on me. So in the next couple of fights, well, from now on in, I'm being a lot more careful. Here's an example of me trying to bait the riposte out of him. So here I actually managed to get it out of him and then block the attack as he comes through. And then here's another one where I'm like getting him, he goes for the riposte, and I just bait it out of him by hitting and then dodging. And although that has helped, I still can't finish him off. You can feel a little bit of the frustration come through here, because I just can't seem to get near him. Every time I do, he just flashes through me. So yeah. So that currently is now 5 for 5 for Leoce, 0 for Karma. I haven't had a win, so as I said, he's usually winning all his fights. And you can see that little example there of how he's just really annoying, like, I just can't get close to him. Even when I do manage to bait out his riposte, he just is very good at not letting me get near him, unfortunately. So I felt like I wasn't tracking him very well. What I mean by that is that when he went to do his little dodges and moved around me, when I moved my mouse, I was just like turning too slowly. I was a little bit cumbersome. I think that's because I still have the DPI that I was using for my mage. So I increased my DPI, DPI is how far, your mouse sensitivity essentially. So I increased that, and you can see that it actually pays dividends here, because I'm able to track him a lot better, and so that means I'm allowed to be a bit more aggressive on him. So this is the first win.
Oh, good job.
Alright, so at the end of the first 10 duels of 1-1, I was probably swearing just then. I turned into a bit of a potty mouth, so yeah, might be, if you hear any muted music, that's probably me going off in the background. But either way, the frustration is just a part of the dueling process. It not only teaches you to be a better player, it teaches you to be meditative. Calm yourself down, because you always fight better calm. So anyway, this is the last fight of the 10 of 1-1. He's 1-8. Things aren't looking good. It's pretty close. I'm not playing the best in this duel, but yeah, so that's 2 wins for me, 8 wins for him in the first 10. So unfortunately my Nvidia card stopped working for the next 10, so it was pretty much a repeat. I won 1 more, so I won 3, he won 7, but I started to slow down my attacks because I noticed that I was rushing, and that's when you run out of stamina. So I started being a little bit more sort of robotic and calculative, which was helping. And also I noticed, and I knew it was helping, because I suddenly heard Jack starting to swear a lot, which meant that I was getting him frustrated. So I knew that I was on the right path, although it wasn't showing in the wins. So now we go into the next. So this is fights 20 to 30. So I respec a little bit because Calamity's just doing nothing for me against the bow, and I want to go more aggressive because I can get the defense a little bit out of the sword and shield. and so I end up going for Skyward Slash as well as Relentless Rush, and then just going a bit more into the offensive tree. So I just hype up the aggression at this stage as well, because I just want to be on top of him like pigs and shit, basically. And yeah, it really works. You can starting to see like how the battle, the tide of the battle, the momentum is starting to shift towards me now. So I start to notice that when I charge him right at the start and just leap on him and just stay really aggressive, I basically won like way more. And it's just because once I'm on him, it's very, very hard for him to get away. I think the thing about bow and greatsword is it's all about, a lot of times it's all about the opening moves. If you can get on them with the greatsword, then you kind of lock them down a little bit and it's hard for them to come back. But also, you know, if the bow can evade your first initial attacks, then that kind of advantage swings to them. But essentially you can see that I've just hyped up the aggression, and I'm really starting to try to get on him almost instantly at the start of the duels. So that pattern pretty much repeats itself for the next, for the next 10. I win 6 of our duels, and he wins 4. And it really did come down to like who can get that sort of early advantage. So the things I'm picking up is you want to be aggressive, but you don't want to be aggressive in the way where you're rushing through your skills. You want to be like cold and calculating, but don't give them any reprieve. Here, I'm kind of rushing through my attacks, but Leoce actually does a really good job of creating distance and creating gaps on me in this one. And then I run myself out of stam trying to get to him, and then it's just game over. So yeah, at the end of by the 30th duel, for that 10 from 20 to 30, I'd won 6 and he'd won 4. So I'd actually managed to turn things around. And so it's at this point where you're going to start to see in the dueling process, the dueling meta, you're going to start to, Leoce is going to have to start developing some tactics, because now I'm kicking his ass. So he's going to have to develop some tactics. So you'd expect him to start to making big improvements to counter what I've just done. And Leoce actually does that in the first 3 fights from 30 to 40. He wins them because he starts using his melee attacks more when I get close to him to finish me off, as well as just being like super evasive. So already he's like kind of balancing things out a little bit, picking up on my tactics and then adapting to it. But then I adapt to that because I know that he's going to be going for those melee attacks, so I kind of wait for him to try to get them off on me and bait them out a bit more. So you can see here I'm kind of like coming up and I'm just sort of like trying to make him use his attacks, whilst also being aggressive, of course. And so then I sort of shift the momentum back in my favor again. So you can see he tries to run away here, but he can't run away from sword and shield. Once you figure out the greatsword and how it can just really, like, once you get that attack on them, you can really just ruin their momentum because you're putting so much damage. You can see them trying to create distance, but once that greatsword's got that chain going on you, it's very hard to get away. And so I noticed with Leoce, he was definitely trying to figure out strats. He tried to use melee, but I sort of countered that, and then he's trying to create distance. But all I need to do is get on top of him with my greatsword, and he just can't get away. So the pain for him basically continues, and I think I end up winning 7 of the duels, and he ends up winning 3. So definitely things have turned around since the beginning of the dueling session. And so you can see that if you duel people over and over and over and over, you know, like how quickly you can learn and get better, and I think that's one of the advantages to dueling. And so as we come into our last 10 duels from 40 to 50, you can see Leoce's strategy is just try to move like 3,000 miles away. But yeah, at this point in time, it's just a repeat of 30 to 40 duels. I'm just staying on top of him and not letting him get any breathing room and just staying aggressive.
Any one of your attacks not a stun?
Yeah, see, he's getting frustrated, which is good for me. So it's 1-1 in the final 10 to Camo Chameleon. Leoce is on the ropes, doesn't know what to do. He's trying evading, he's trying to attack him with the melee, but he just can't get away from the might of the greatsword that is wielded by Camo, the Chameleon. He actually ups his evasive game quite nicely here. So you're starting to get signs where he's starting to figure things out. He's, like, I was sort of baiting, it seems to me, he didn't say this to me, but it seems to me like he's basing my attacks out of me by just sort of being quite evasive at the start of the fight. So you see he runs me out of stamina here, and so now I'm in trouble, and so he lays his damage into me. Well, actually, I'm still trying to lay my damage into him. But he's just sort of been way more evasive than he has been in the last few fights. So it's a lot harder for me to get my chain going on him. And then, yeah, he finishes me off. So that's 2-1. And then I realized in this duel, it wasn't a coincidence. He's just upped his evasive game. I'm running myself out of stam trying to catch him. So that's definitely not good because I become easy pickings, which is why he can get my health down so low. But he's also relying on his Rapier more too to finish me up and do a bit of damage. So he ties things up at 2-2. And now I'm having problems dealing with, I don't know, he's all of a sudden just way more evasive. He's obviously like, I think what he's done is he knows what tactics to dodge and evade and stuff. So, yeah, so now Leoce takes the lead at 3-2. And then you can really see him starting to get confident with those skills now. He starts to rely on the Rapier a lot more to get the damage. He runs me out of stam, so now I'm in big trouble. So I'm just trying to do as much damage to him as possible, but he comes in with the Rapier attack, get my health down low a little bit. So he's just been super evasive, and then just dances around me with the Rapier and like gets my health really low, gets me in the riposte. See you later, Camo. 4-2 to Leoce. So at this point, I'm like, okay, you've got to slow things down again because you're just rushing your attacks and that's why you're running out of stam. I could almost guarantee that if you're running yourself out of stam, it's because you're getting overexcited and rushing your attacks. So I slow things down, turn a bit more cold and calculated, but trying to keep that aggression high and just keep on top of them, try to get into that great sand. So I managed to bring things back. So it's 4-3. Definitely getting tight between us. It's exactly what I kind of predicted would happen at the start of our dueling session. You can see I've run myself out of stamina again, but I managed to get back. I'm just trying to stay on top of him, keep aggressive. You can see the fight's so close. I miss, but he misses his riposte and I can finish him off.
It's annoying that you missed that. Yeah.
Okay, so it's now tied up. 4-4. 2 more to go. And I think the fights are pretty close at this point. Running myself out of stam again. I've just got to watch that because it just makes me so vulnerable. He runs himself out of stam and I see that opening and it's just like, kill him. So this is it, the last fight. But I just want to point out that this is a really good example of how, like, over long dueling sessions you can really improve your gameplay and figure out counters to things. And this only took us like, what, an hour? This is why dueling is a really good thing to do. So I feel like I've learned a lot about the Greatsword. Leoce brings it back and we end up 5-5 in the last 10, which is, it couldn't have been a better way to end it. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series. Bit more of a learn to play this time, but there'll be a few more of them coming around just because, you know, I want to learn how to use the Greatsword. And but of course the Iron Man's still the staple right now because I'm loving that. So I'll see you all very soon. Thank you very much everyone. Bye.